welcome to your English class. Till now we have done explanation till page number 51, and today we will continue with our explanation given on page number 52. Dear students, let's read the paragraph number 27. The pictures of him aren't handsome enough, declared a pretty girl. Now here, as he was walking along the street in the town, one of a girl exclaimed that he doesn't look so handsome in his pictures. But in spite of these signs of approval and interest, the mass of people received me in silence and with sullen looks. Now, Rasindal is saying that though he was getting signs of approval from the citizens, there was a group of people who received him with silence and anger. With sullen looks means silence and anger, because they supported Michael, not Rudolph. At last, we were at the church, and for the first time, the sudden sense of my audacity almost overcame me. Everything was in a mist as I dismounted. I saw the marshal and sapped dimly, and dimly the group of gorgeously robed priests who awaited me, and my eyes were still dim as I walked up the aisle. Now here, the narrator of the story, Rasindal, is saying that when he reached the church, all of a sudden he started feeling nervous, and everything looked blurry in front of his eyes. He had a dim sight of martial, sapped, and gorgeously robed priest as he was walking down the aisle. I saw nothing of the crowd that filled the church. Only two faces stood side by side, clearly before my eyes. The face of a girl, pale and lovely, and the face of a man whose red cheeks, black hair, and dark deep eyes told me that at last I was in the presence of my brother, Black Michael. And when he saw me, his red cheeks went pale all in a moment, and his helmet fell with a clatter. On the floor. Till that moment, he had not realized that the king had indeed come to Strelsau. Of what followed next, I remember nothing. I knelt before the priest as he anointed my head. Anointed means put oil as part of a ceremony. Then I rose to my feet, took from him the crown of Ruritania, and set it on my head. I swore the old oath of the king. Now, Rasindal says that he saw no one so clearly in the crowd except a beautiful girl with pale face and a man with red cheeks and black hair standing side by side. He recognized him as his brother Black Michael, who was shocked to see the king there. He says that in paragraph number 31, he says that he don't remember further what happened. He does not remember that. He just remembered that he knelt before the priest as the priest anointed his head. Anointed means putting oil on head as a part of ceremony. He took the crown and set it on his head and took the old oath which is usually taken by a king at the time of coronation ceremony. Paragraph number 32. Then the lady with the pale face stepped from her place and came to where I stood, and an attendant cried, "Her Royal Highness, the Princess Flavia." When an attendant cried, "Her Royal Highness, the Princess Flavia," then only Rasindal came to know who that lady with the pale face was. Flavia put her hand in mine and curtsied low. And then came the Duke of Strelsau. His steps trembled, I swear, and he looked to the right and to the left as a man looks who thinks on flight. His face was patched with red and white. His hand shook, and I felt his lips dry and parched as he kissed my hand resolutely. Doing my duty, I took my dear Michael, by both hands and kissed him on the cheek. I think we were both glad when that was over. Now, in this paragraph number 32, Rasendra is saying that, paragraph number 33, Rasendra is saying Flavia put her hand in his hand, and then the Duke of Streltsau came, who looked puzzled. His face was patched with red and white, his hands were trembling, his lips were dry and parched. As a duty, Rasendal took Michael by both hands and kissed his cheek. And Rasendal says here that he thinks that both of them felt relaxed after this process, or we can say after this meeting. But neither in the face of the princess nor anyone else did I see the least doubt or questioning. But neither she nor anyone else dreamed or imagined that I could be other than the king. So for an hour I stood there, as though I had been a king all my life. Everybody kissed my hand, and the ambassador paid me their respect. In paragraph number 34, Rasendal is saying that no one recognized him or had any doubt on him that he could be someone else. He stood there for an hour pretending to be a king, and everybody kissed his hand, showed respect towards him. Then back we went through the streets of the palace, to the palace. I was in a carriage now, side by side with the Princess Flavia. She turned to me. "Do you know Rodolphe?" said she. "You look somehow different today." Now here, as they were returning back to the palace, Princess Flavia was sitting by his side in the carriage. All of a sudden, Princess Flavia asked him if he knew Rodolphe and said that he looked different today. The fact was not surprising, but the remark was disquieting. I said what was perfectly true. "My dear princess, it must be because nothing in my life has affected me more than the reception I've been greeted with today." Disquieting means causing fear and worry. In this para, Rasendal is saying that the remark made by the princess caused fear and worriness in him. But he handled the situation very smartly and said that it's maybe because he had never received such a reception before. She smiled brightly, but in an instant grew grave and whispered, "Did you notice Michael?" "Yes," said I, adding, "he wasn't enjoying himself." Now in paragraph number 37 and 38, they are having conversation. Rasendal and Princess Flavia were having conversation, and the princess told him that, "Did you notice Michael? He was not enjoying himself." And Rasendal agreed to her. "Do be careful," she went on. You don't keep enough watch on him. You know." "I know," said I, "that he wants what I've got." Now, when Princess Flavia was advising him to take care of himself and to keep an eye on Black Michael, Rasendal said that I know what he wants, and he wants what I have got. That means the position what he is getting, the chair of a king, or we can say the throne of a king, what Rasendal is getting, Black Michael wanted that. Bang, bang, blare, blare. The sound of the drums and trumpets went on. We were at the palace. Guns were firing and trumpets blowing. Rows of attendants stood waiting. I handed the princess up the broad marble staircase. Then I took formal possession as the crowned king of the royal palace and wondered what the king of Ruritania was doing. Now, when Resendel and Princess Flavia reached the palace, there was firing and trumpets blowing, and attendants were waiting for them. He took Princess Flavia up the broad marble staircase, and then he possessioned, or we can say he he took the he took the position of a crowned king in a formal way, and he imagined what the real king of Ruritania must have done at this time. The excitement heats up as Black Michael kidnaps the real king, and Resendel is forced to keep up with the pretense for longer than he expected to. The story of how he rescues Rudolph and saves the throne of Ruritania from Michael forms the story of the prisoner of Zenda, an excerpt from A Prisoner of Zenda by Anthony Hope. Dear students, as I have told you that this lesson is written by Anthony Hope, in this last paragraph, it is being told to us that this story is taken from The Prisoner of Zenda, and the excitement of this story increases when Black Michael kidnaps the real prince, and Resendel was forced to pretend as a king for a more longer time. You can check out this story in this excerpt in the story, The Prisoner of Zenda. I hope you all have understood the story. Thank you and have a good day.